Total Recast.
Welcome to Total Recast, the series in which I take movies with questionable casting choices and recast all the major roles, including the ones I thought were cast well to begin with. Today I'll be looking at Wonder Woman from 2017. Wonder Woman shocked me by being actually really good. I expected to be Man of Steel in a skirt, especially after the character's underwhelming appearance in Murder Bat vs. Emo Jesus, Dawn of the Tryhards. But no, it was fun. The most fun superhero movie since the first Avengers movie, I'd say. Great characters and performances, just enough action, and a lot of memorable moments. Most importantly, we like the leads and believe them in their roles. But are there actors who could play these parts just as well or even better? You be the judge. Plot spoilers will be flying early and often, so if you're a person who waits at least 3 years to see a movie and wants to go in fresher than water from an Irish spring, you're a weirdo, and you've been warned. On to the recasting. Sir Patrick / Ares. Spoiler numero uno right out of the gate. The main villain of the film. David Thewlis? Thewlis?
David Thewlis.
Ooh, she sounds cute.
David Thewlis.
What's a nice girl like you doing pronouncing a name like this?
David Thewlis.
Oh no, are you drunk again?
David Thewlis.
You told me you were going to get help.
David Thewlis.
Who's this guy?
David Thewlis.
Hey buddy, back off. I'm trying to talk to the lady.
David Thewlis.
A sphincter says David Thewlis.
David Thewlis.
That's what I thought.
David Thewlis.
Okay, now we got the gay version.
David Thewlis.
David Thewlis.
David Thewlis.
That's even worse.
David Thewlis.
Okay, I think we get the point.
David Thewlis.
David Thewlis, I choose you.
David Thewlis.
Are you ready to battle Charizard?
David Thewlis.
Mustache attack, now!
Oh, Jesus.
David Thewlis. Any relation to Thewlis Joe Jackson?
Enough already.
You may recognize Dave from the Harry Potter movies, in which he plays Professor Arsène Lupin Sensei. I'll always think of him as Freddie Mays from Gangster No. 1. So Dave plays a dual role of Professor Limpy McHarmless and Scary's god of CGI. Professor Limpy is a kindly bureaucrat who's all, wouldn't even hurt a fry. But he's actually Helmut von Evilstache, who's going around spreading fear and hatred like a one-man CNN. And 1D has to duke it out with him, finally defeating him with her superior knowledge of the Force. To me, it feels like this role was meant for Gary Oldman, right down to the mustache. It's like they called Gary Oldman and he was like, I can't do it, I've got a prior engagement. And they were like, okay, well shit, who else was in Harry Potter? The late Alan Rickman had sadly passed away. Ralph Fiennes? Jason Isaacs? Great actors to be sure, but you may as well have a neon sign over their heads flashing, I'm the bad guy, from the moment they appear on screen. Sure, Oldman has played his share of villains as well, but he's played a lot of normal people and heroes too, particularly in recent years. The key to this character is that you believe him as the kindly old Limpy Magoo, and don't suspect he's anything more. And then when he's all, surprise, I'm the final boss! It's shocking, but acceptable. I actually think Dave was good in the movie, and Oldman wouldn't have been any better. My personal choice would be Paul Bettany, who recently played Vision in the Marvel movies. He can play cold and effete very well. As opposed to CGI Mania, we could have had a melee weapon duel where Ares had Diana outclassed in every way, but she wins through toughness and determination, like in Rob Roy. Perhaps exploiting Ares' pride and anger instead of just bouncing back his force lightning. Danny Houston plays Ludendorff, the crackhead Nazi, who we are meant to think is the main bad guy. I don't know about you, but I'm really tired of Danny Houston. I don't know anything about him, he may be a lovely man, but I want him to piss off. He's not a bad actor, he just plays so many villains, and I'm sick of his face. Objectively, he's well cast. He plays a lot of villains, and is ultimately easily upstaged. But this casting is as uninspired as the character is one-dimensional. I like Alexander Skarsgård for the role. His would-be star-making role as Tarzan didn't hit the jungle floor with a thud, but audiences didn't go ape for it either. But anyone who saw Skarsgård play a suave vampire on True Blood knows he has a lot of screen presence and personality. I would have loved to see him sink his teeth into this role. Or Dolph Lundgren. I'm still pissed he didn't play Cable in the Deadpool 2. I'm still pissed he didn't play Cable in Deadpool 2 after that possibility was teased. He's totally wasted in movies like Aquaman. And not Lindsay Lohan totally wasted, underused. I'm glad he's working, but still. Robin Wright, Jenna, plays Antiope, Wonder Woman's fun aunt, who teaches Diana that in a society with no men, you need to learn to use your fists. I like Wright, and I think she's very good in the role. It was rumored that Cate Blanchett was offered a part in this movie. I assume it was Antiope. She turned it down to play the heavy and Thor Carter of Mars, which was the right choice in my opinion. Jennifer Connelly. If they made a Wonder Woman movie in the 90s, Connelly would have been a fine candidate for the lead. She's a great actress, and I think she could make the same lasting impression Wright achieved with her limited screen time. Queen Hippolyta, Diana's mother, is played by Connie Nielsen, who played the Empress of Rome in the 2000 film Gladiator. She's always seemed a bit bland to me, like her acting is subtle to the point of being wooden. And as she's aging, she's kind of starting to get a Kris Jenner sort of thing going on there. Nicole Kidman turned down the part. I can see why they would want to cast her. She's the right age, she's a big name. They're doing the whole cast Brando as Jor-El thing. Surround the unknown lead with stars. But you don't need to do that. Superhero films no longer struggle for legitimacy. I think Kidman would have stuck out like a sore thumb. Lucy Lawless, the Wonder Woman of the 90s. As Xena, warrior princess, Lawless carried a silly TV show on her broad shoulders for 6 seasons. Like Connelly, she still looks great for her age. I'm sure some of you will be thinking, why not have Linda Carter play the Queen? For the youngins in the audience, Linda Carter played Wonder Woman on TV in the 70s. I think Carter would have made a great Hippolyta. Moreover, Deborah Winger, who played Wonder Girl, would have made a great Antiope, if this movie was made 15 years ago. Now they're simply too old and would look more like Diana's grandmothers. Chris Pine plays Brois Lane, aka Steve Trevor. The characterization has a lot of similarities to Chris Evans' Steve Rogers, aka Captain America Ward Policeman. I like Pratt in the role. I think he and Gadot have good chemistry, but it seems like Hemsworth is making a conscious effort not to upstage Gadot. This is unnecessary because she's very charming, but Evans' performance is kind of flat, and I can only assume it's intentional because he's a charismatic guy. I think a young Harrison Ford type performance is what's needed here. An Indiana Jones or Han Solo kind of characterization would be more fun in contrast to Gadot being a mixture of regal and naive. Instead, Steve Trevor comes off like a handsome Samwise Gamgee. Liam Hemsworth and Alexander Skarsgård were considered for the role of Steve Trevor. Liam is of course famous for having a talented brother and being smart enough not to marry Miley Cyrus. Skarsgård I suggested earlier to play Ludendorff, which I think would be a much more appropriate role for him. The dude looks like a vampire, and you don't want Steve Trevor to tower over Wonder Woman. My choice would be James Van Der Beek. You don't need to be a member of the Chris Quartet for this role. You've got a perfectly good James just kicking around on the small screen. I never watched Dawson's Creek, though I of course found young Katie Holmes quite fetching. Who would have predicted that Michelle Williams would be the biggest star to come out of that show? Having seen Van Der Beek in various roles on TV over the last decade, I'm consistently impressed with his range. And finally, Gal Gadot plays Diana/Wonder Woman. Gadot is very good in the role. Her Israeli accent gives her this foreign quality that adds to the character. It was brilliant to have the other Amazons mimic her accent, as though it was a Themysciran accent. As I mentioned, she and Chris Pratt have good chemistry. I think Gadot's natural charisma is what makes this movie work. I don't think she's the best actress in the world, but she's very earnest and likable. It'll be interesting to see where her career goes from here. Cobie Smulders from the TV show I Know What Your Mother Did Last Summer, was briefly considered for the role. I assume she was passed over because her last name sounds stupid. I found Smulders very likable and naturalistic on Say Hi to Your Mother for Me, but she didn't make much impact in Jack Reach Around. But she wasn't given much to do. Odette Annabelle, formerly Odette Yustman. She recently appeared on the Supergirl TV series. I think she'd be great. I imagine Annabelle's portrayal would be very similar to Gadot's. Though I think Annabelle is a better actress than Gadot, I'm not sure she's as likable. Alexandra Daddario, recently seen in Baywatch, is my top choice. I think she looks the part more than any other candidate. Though she is the same age as Gadot and Annabelle, she has more of a youthful quality, which suits the character. Her likability is on par with Gadot, in my opinion, and she's a fine actress as well. And as for her physical characteristics, well, let's just say she doesn't need a wonder bra. And that's my alternate cast for Wonder Woman. Now, some movie casts are like magic, so much so you can pluck them out of one movie and put them into another. Is there such a cast that could be used for Wonder Woman? I think there is, and that cast is Clash of the Titans from 2010. You guys remember this movie? It had a sequel, but I don't think it was a very big hit. Anyway, as Queen Hippolyta, Elizabeth McGovern. As Antiope, Polly Walker. As Ludendorff, Mads Mikkelsen. As Ares and his alter ego, Jason Fleming. Yeah, I know. Liam Neeson and Ralph Fiennes were in the movie. Too obvious, guys. Jason Fleming would be great. As Steve Trevor, Sam Worthington. And as Diana and Wonder Woman, Alexa Davalos. I know, Gemma Atherton was in the movie too, and you could argue that she had the bigger part, but out of the two of them, I think that Alexa Davalos is definitely the better choice. Plus, she's actually Greek. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't done so already. Please post a link on social media or send it to a friend to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching, see you next time.